Hi, everybody. Westlake checking in tonight with a special guest. And my program tonight, when you work on yourself, I know we've all heard that. Maybe you've never heard that. But when you truly, truly, truly begin to work on yourself, life changes. And I'm telling you what, my guest speaker tonight will really display to you the fruits of his labor as he began working on himself right out of college. Well, I'll let him tell you his story. The gentleman's name is Darrell Price, and Darrell originally from Ramseur, North Carolina. Never heard of it before, but Darrell's telling me it had, I think, a population of 800, but because of his career that he has chased down, and it's all brought about by working on himself, he has traveled the world and is now located in Southern California with the girl of his dreams, Megan, Dr. Megan Stone, who's a practicing physician. So, Darrell, welcome to my program. I'm so grateful to have you join in here this evening as a life coach. I got to share with everybody, I got a life coach about a year ago, and it has made a world of difference. Darrell, you're a life coach, but before we get into that, maybe share with everybody where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Wes. Thanks for having me on. You're a blessing. It's good to get to know you, and I appreciate Coach Keeby for introducing us. And then just you taking initiative every day. I get to see you on Facebook, and I learn a lot from you. So looking forward to your future in coaching, and looking forward to what you got planned. But yeah, just to clarify a little bit. Yeah, so at 1,800 is about 14 to 1,600. I think the census has but super tiny regardless. So in Ramseur, North Carolina. And so I tell a lot of people that I'm from Southern Alaska when they hear my accent. And then they don't disagree with me. They're like, oh, I've never been there. So, but anyhow, yeah, a little bit about me, as you stated, and I know that you spent some time with collegiate athletes, and I had a lot of background growing up in my town with two older brothers that played a lot of sports as well. Baseball was one of the sports that I was attracted to, had a lot of good talent that I played with and a lot of leadership. And my father had spent a lot of time in businesses and coaching and booster clubs and Legion. And so I was always around speaking and was always around engaging. But it wasn't until after I got out of college that I realized that I wanted to really do coaching. I always loved helping people, and I like coaching. So in a nutshell, my background with coming out of school was in social work, was in human services, was a degree that I received. And I really enjoyed it and spent a lot of time, and graduated and was pumped. And then I realized that I want to help people, but I wanted to make money too. So trying to find a way where I had that independence, and really spent a large portion of my career, about 17 years, working with all types of population, from homeless veterans to maternity homes to group homes, and really spent a lot of time working with that. So, and that's kind of what led me to coaching.
So you were a social worker coming out of college. I assume that's what your degree was in, right?
Yeah, my degree was in human services, and not necessarily a social worker, but spent a lot of time case management, working in group homes, supervising in group homes, really direct care. One of my passions was to work in all types of populations, no matter what, and be in direct care. So I knew what the front lines was like. That was one of my goals when I came out of school, but always had a big vision to want to coach probably around 2022, but I had to make that plan, that 10 to 15 year plan, that I really wanted to do it right. And I thought, what better way than to work with all populations so I could relate to people when it came down to helping people. So.
You know, Darrell, somebody explained to me one time, and I sensed this from listening to you talk, there's a difference between happiness and fulfillment. You know, everybody's chasing happiness, but happiness can truly be a fleeting thing. And the story was always told to me, our minister told it one year at Christmas, one of the Christmas sermons. You know, happiness is the little kid that runs up to the Christmas tree, grabs that gift, shakes it up, right? He opens it, and he gets the gift he's been waiting for all year. He plays with it for about 3 hours, and he throws it in the corner and does something else. Happiness comes and goes, but fulfillment, that experience is, say you're 13 years old, you got your first paycheck from your first job, and you bought mom and dad that first gift. Fulfillment is watching mom and dad open that gift, because that's a feeling of satisfaction, fulfillment. That's something that's very satisfying that never leaves you. And I sense that from you. That's what you get from working with people in the social field.
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it. I think they play with the box more than they do the gifts, just to echo what you were saying. I have a 10-year-old daughter, so I can relate to that. Yeah, it's totally true. I mean, I went into the field thinking I could give something, and in reality, I've learned so much. And I know you can relate to that. We've spoken about that, Wes, there's so many moments of joy and happiness that happen in the little small things, and they may only be 1 degree, but I realize that there's a big difference in boiling water and really, really hot water.
Yes,
And
yes, very
it's
true.
that small degree. So I think I get to the opportunity to do that, and that's something I enjoy in my field. And I've been able to carve out kind of my coaching career in workshops where I'm working a lot with geriatrics or working with things that I like to do that has my background in sports and in social work, and combining them. So that's where I've spent a lot of my energy over the last 5 years in my coaching field.
So, Darrell, when you came out of college, I'm sure, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you. Was life coaching something that you knew anything about, or something you were interested in?
The term life coaching, no, but I knew I wanted to help people and I wanted to coach people. And when I understanding life coaching, there's always a stigma when people hear life coaching. They think this, they think guru, they think this help, they think self-help, they think spirituality. But when I was probably 21, when I realized that I knew there was coaching field, I started reading a lot of books, and I started seeing successful people were always having some sort of mentorship. And so I realized I needed to have that. So that's when I got mentorship at that age. I started reading books, associating, really growing my mind. And I realized there was a lot of coaches through my networking. And that's where I kind of evolved into it. But I knew at that age that I was pumped up about trying to live my life, but I had a lot going on. So I had to learn to invest in myself, to get myself so I could help people. And to be a good coach, I really believe you have to have a coach. And
Well, not to interrupt you, but when you start reading and watching videos, I know a lot of my friends like to watch a lot of YouTube videos and motivational things. And a lot of people think that when you start working in self-development on yourself, it's a lot of that rah, positive mental attitude, say the affirmations, but there's more to that. I would like for you to share that there's actually more to that. Maybe you could share some of the authors that you started reading. I mean, you're talking about books. Are you talking one a month? I mean, you're an athlete, partner. I mean, most athletes don't read more than one book a month, maybe one book a year, right? Because they're out in the field all the time.
Well, it depends. It depends. To answer your question, as far as two things to answer two, but reading a book is not so much about the volume or the quantity that I've read. I have spent that time. It's going over some key books multiple times. And I think that's what I found out. Four Agreements is a book I read multiple times. Dr. Wayne Dyer, some books that I've read, a lot of the Law of Attraction books, but also books that are inspirational from the heart, because I really believe in coaching is a mental, an emotional, and a spiritual asset. And I believe all three of those have to go. So there may be some Joel Osteen mixed in there. There may be some things that are very positive. I work around a lot of law of attraction and positive psych mixed in with what means intrinsic value and altruistically to everybody. So it needs to be something that comes from within to be able to give out. And I really believe in that. The better I am, the better I'm going to be to other people, and the right people are attracted to me, hopefully in the right way. So yeah, so so the reading is really focused reading. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I'm a viewer watching our broadcast here, coming on, and you're going to scratch my head. So what the heck would I need a life coach for? What is a life coach?
I get that question a lot. Obviously, people feel free to. I have a FAQ on my website, Price Life Consulting, that answers just some of those questions. But when I tell people counseling deals more with the past and coaching deals more with the present and the future. So I kind of sum it up in that way, where I work with somebody where they're at and try to propel them to the next stage. And I do a lot of self-discovery in my coaching practice. So my goal is to bring things to the surface. And most of the time you have the answers, but sometimes we need kind of like a video camera on us. So let's say we were swimming in the water and we want to improve our swimming. Well, I'm the guy who's taking the video. And when you get out of the pool soaking wet and tired, all I do is show you the video and say, what do you think about this? And that essence is when you can see yourself like, oh man, look at my stroke, look at this. My job is to show you a visually of what your life is and where those areas of improvement, and to do that. And I really have a good time doing it. The other thing is you got to be excited about your own life. So I spend a lot of time. Most people are struggling because they're not excited. They don't feel they have value. And so I help them find what their purpose is. You can see my vision board behind me. You can see some of my running things. but I'm always putting things visually in my clients' eyes to help them move forward.
As I went through my life coach training, one of the most insightful things, or one of the things, right, that really slammed me, probably the turning point or the breakthrough class, was where my instructor said, well, hey, I want you to tell me, who am I? Answer that question, who am I? And you're not allowed to say, I don't want to hear that you're, like in my case, I don't want to hear that you're a college umpire, or that you're a heating and air conditioning technician, or that you're a dad or your grandpa, or you're a brother, or you're a friend. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I want to know who you are. So answer the question, who am I? Maybe, could you expand on that? Because I don't think people watching, I think most of us, because I was this way before, if you'd asked me that question before I took the life coaching classes and the instruction, I would have never thought anything more. That's how I would have answered it. Yes, I'm a dad, I'm a brother, I'm a loving parent. That's how I would answer that question, but that's not the correct answer. That's not the true answer of who I am. I know we don't have a lot of time in an interview to really go into detail.
Is it me and you, Wes?
Yes.
That sounds like you're asking that directly. That's a phenomenal question, Wes. I mean, and just to not disagree with you, but when you mentioned about a dad and being, it is a part of who you are. It's not maybe the whole, but it actually is one of the biggest things. Your friends, your family, your network is your net worth, and what's in your circle of influence is a huge part that makes you who you are. But I think understanding who am I is a lot about, we want to be validated as humans. We want to be heard, and we want to know that we have some sort of purpose and what is driving it. So along with goals, and this is coaching and what you do, and when you've received coaching, the biggest thing we're asked is, why are you doing this? Why do you care about yourself? Why? And what are your steps to moving forward? So I think who am I goes back to, what reason do I have to drive me? So when I look at my life and when I sit down on paper and I go help people, I look back at my dad. I look back, my dad's in the back here up against a tree. I look at people that have gone before me and done things. I look at people that I've lost to drive me. I look at things to push me. I look at my 10-year-old daughter's picture over here when I wake up in the morning. I have to have those things, because those are the things that give me the energy to go out and accomplish things. Because if I did it in my own power, it's not going to work. So I look at those things and I realize I believe that we're put on this planet to do good things, bar none, period. And that is, so my focus is there. And I challenge everybody to go on that journey to find out what is the purpose. So there's the overall purpose, but the why is going to drive you to complete those things. And along the way, you'll find happiness, because happiness is a journey. It's not a destination. It's something that you find as you're going through the motion. And it is about taking that initiative and really caring. The more you care about yourself, the better off everybody around you is going to be. And so it's really important to spend a lot of time on yourself. But we go through the hamster wheel doing all these other things. And in reality, when you take care of yourself and get yourself aligned, everything else around you starts to kind of trickle its way in.
So who might, somebody watching this, I don't know, how do you say this? How does somebody, who would need life coaching? I mean, what kind of person would be wanting life coaching? Somebody that maybe has hit rock bottom and looking for a way out, or is it somebody that's finally woke up? For me, it was like I realized if I didn't do something, nothing was going to change, because I was doing the same thing every day, every week, every year. And it's like I wasn't progressing. I wasn't getting any closer to achieving the things that I had wanted in my life. That's what caused me to step out.
Yeah, that's good.
Your clients and the people that you train or that you work with, what maybe you could share what maybe some of the reasons were that they came to you.
Yeah, that's a great question too, Wes. And congratulate you on, I remember those moments like, man, I'm just not moving forward. It's kind of like I'm stuck. That's kind of,
yes.
And it makes me think that, to answer your question flat, everybody, number one, needs coaching at one point or other in their life. And I like to tell people there's also getting coaching, and then there's maintenance too. So it's different for different people, because sometimes people just need a light bulb. They need to ignite, and then they can take it. Some people struggle over time. And so I have a lot of clients that may come to me for, a period of time, whether it be 4 to 6 months, and then we take a step back and then they come back again. And so I really try to work with people on where they're at. Some people come to me and they're really too far. They need to really dive into some past hardcore deep issues. And that's where I make that referral. But I'm always still in contact with them, and I'm still with them. And so when their time, the season comes around, then we're ready to capitalize. So I think everybody needs coaching in some form or fashion, but you really have to be ready for it. And so I have a lot of consultations where I can tell people, hey, this is not the right timing. It's not, so no for now, but not forever, because they're not in that right season. And so that's where it's my goal to be that connector, to get them to where their connecting is and get them in the right support system, because coaching is kind of that having that nice car, the car's rolling, but maybe you want to put some nice new reflectors on it. Maybe you want to change it to leather, and maybe you want to kind of amp up your car a little bit, but somewhere or another, you still have a car and you're still moving. And so that's what I tell people, that they're at least moving the right way, but they're just not getting it right. And that's where we come in and try to fine tune it and work together. It's all about reaching the person's goals and reaching what they want, not what I want. So it's not about my plan. It's about navigating, finding out where they're not, the loopholes are, and connecting them. So
that makes sense. That makes sense. So we're talking about life coaching. Life coaching, I mean, it's a big field, and we're going to talk about an up-and-coming one here with you and your fiance. But before we get to that one, the one that really drew me into the life coaching, and I don't know if it's my niche, but it's something I've spent a lot of time studying, is the law of attraction, which is intriguing to me when we start talking about quantum physics and what science is today, and the great gains that science have made and most people are not aware of. And it's so fascinating to me. I know that we talked yesterday and you said that that's how you got started, was in law of attraction. I really am intrigued by it. I find it very fast. I read, and I just can't get enough of it. Maybe you could share your experience with the law of attraction. I know everybody, I wouldn't say no everybody, but a lot of people look at law of attraction and say, that's rubbish. It's just good talk, try to make you feel good. But it's reality. And your case in point, I mean, look where you are right now. I'd like you to share how it has helped you.
I would not be where I'm at without realizing that there's positive and negative out there in this world. I tell people that's fine. It's fine to realize it, because it's like a battery, and it takes both positive and negative to run. But what I try to spend most of my time doing is keeping my positive and a negative emotions, okay, because they're coming all the time, and try to control what I can. And one of the biggest things I learned in law of attraction, it's kind of reminds you when you want that truck or that car and you finally realize that you want it, you start seeing them everywhere. You're like, oh, or you finally buy that truck. You know what I'm talking about, Wes. You start seeing like, oh, there's a Tacoma or there's a Camry, and you start realizing that that's the way your life is. So our hearts and our minds are so connected with our body. So the mind and body are one. And a lot of science there's there to back it up. But the reality of it is, when you're trying to think of law of attraction, it's about manifestation. So when I pointed out my vision board on the back, a lot of people are like, oh, there's a vision board, or there's law of attraction, like you just said. Well, no kidding, you should focus on positive, because most of the time we need brainwashing. We need good brainwashing. And we have to focus on positive, because the alternative doesn't help us. And does that mean that all the time I'm focused positive, or all the time I'm manifesting this? No, you're going to have ups and downs. But the difference is, whenever I have something, I respond with a positive thought and emotion. And that's what I try to attract into my life. And it works. It has worked. And what I mean by that is, everything I have today is because of that. I really, really believe that I can truly do this with help and with others in my network. And I really say that every single day. And that takes me on that step to moving forward. So it's a manifestation of law of attraction is huge. But if you don't like it, that's fine. If you jump off a 10-story building, gravity takes effect. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. It happens. So.
I think the most fascinating thing to me in the reading that I've been doing, it's like, well, you don't see electricity, but it's there. And if you want me to prove it to you, I can show you how to find it. The same way with the law of attraction and the energy field. You know, you don't believe it's there, that's fine. It's there. And, and if you really, really, I think a lot of people just overlook things. You know, when I had my coaching session here this last week, we were talking about it. And it's like, sometimes I don't think things are going on, but then when I sit down and I reflect and start seeing, they call it synchronicities, or the little things that are happening around you that are, all things are starting to come together. And you just don't see it when it's all done. I mean, when you actually get the thing that you were trying to manifest, then you can back up and say, oh my gosh, I didn't notice that. Or I forgot this person saying, it's kind of neat.
That's
Different
awesome.
people come into life.
No, that's really cool. It's good that you're noticing. That's awesome.
So share with us before we start, because I really want to spend some time talking about you and Megan and what you guys are going through right now or getting into. Share with us some of the places. I mean, this is all you've done, right? Is coaching right out of school? I mean, coming out of college?
No. So I spent about 14, 15 years working at all different types of employment. So I've done several jobs. I've had worked in the home-based industry business. I've also worked vending machines. I've also had landscaping businesses. I've spent years supervising in group homes. I've managed grants for homeless vets. Like I was telling, in maternity homes, I worked as a case manager. I spent a lot of time with disabilities. I've spent a lot of time in a lot of different arenas on purpose. And it's really prepared me currently because I understand people. And for the last 5 years, I've been working, developing. I have two caregiver groups that I do, one through the Alzheimer's Association. And then I also work in a skilled nursing facility. I do a happy hour every week there. And
Happy Coach.
There you go. Happy Coach. That's where that term comes from. And then me and Dr. Stone developed a group called the Journey to Happiness Seniors Group. And that's really a big one that we're getting ready to launch throughout other areas. We're getting ready to duplicate that program. But we've been doing those programs for the last 5 years. And I have spent probably about 7.5 years full time in coaching. So that's all I've been doing. And it's been an amazing journey. But it was a process getting there. And the process is what it's all about. And it's a good process because it's not stopped. And so I'm constantly growing, doing new things like this, being on the screen, versus doing workshops. So I'm growing and I'm open to that. And that's the key. And I learned so much from people like you, Coach Keeby, other people, and I'm totally open to all that. So, So I've been doing a lot of stuff with Dr. Stone and different things too. So
one of the fascinating things through the class that I took, or when I went through my coaching thing, was everybody deep down, I mean, we're all the same spirit. We all are the same spirit. We all grow up in different environments, so therefore we got different egos and different issues that we have to deal with. But ultimately, we all have the same spirit. Now I'm losing my train of thought. No, I'm not.
We have the same spirit.
We have the same spirit, but the one thing that everybody wants to do is progress, because life can be pretty boring getting up. And, for me, I found myself in that rat race of getting up, going to work every day, coming home, doing the same thing every night. And so we all want to progress, and that little progression every day, when we recognize it and we see success, it just gives us the inspiration and the giddy up and the excitement for life to get back out and do things.
Yes.
Can you share with us some of the places that your life coaching has taken you? I've seen some pictures I posted for our interview, which didn't happen Facebook Live, but we're going to be out there anyway.
Yeah, well, like you said, travel, I found out that travel was a huge thing missing in my life. And I had a lot going on personally in my life. I had a lot of change. I had a lot in my life that I realized that I was stuck a little bit, not just in my own world, but I wasn't exposed. And so one of my visions that I had with another vision board I had was traveling, was real big on there. And so I knew I had to make a plan. And so my plan involved help. Well, I can do a mission trip. I can go to this, do this. That's how I can get out. That's how I can do it, because I can plan that. I can take away vacation and substitute it for that. And that just blossomed. And through the law of attraction, that's where I ran into Megan, and I found her passion was traveling. And so she spent a lot of time in Africa. She spent a lot with tropical medicine. And so we've been to Haiti. We've been to the Dominican Republic. We've done time in Honduras. And we've been able to do a lot to be able to give back, because we really believe in the principles of doing that. And so we've traveled recreationally on our own just to meet new people and to grow. We just got back recently from Vietnam, and we've been to Thailand, and we've been tons of places in Mexico. We've been to Greece to run the original marathon. We're looking forward to possibly a Japan trip coming up soon. We're trying to. So we have traveled a lot, and we've been real fortunate, but we have structurally scheduled that. My passion was to have my own business, my dream several years ago, and I've been able to accomplish that, which gives me that flexible schedule that I wanted to be able to do it. So it takes a lot of work, but a lot of vision, and it takes time and prep, but it's so worth it. When you're exposed to other culture and other things, it shifts your entire perspective on how you view life. And you also makes you realize you have a lot to be thankful for. And every time I get back on the plane, I get back here in the U.S., I literally hold my hands together and say, thank you, thank you, thank you, because we have so much. And I think that perspective always, the more I travel, the more I'm grounded, and the more I have full of gratitude for what I do have, not what I don't.
So as we change gears here, and I want you to talk about Dr. Stone.
You got a lot of questions.
Yeah. Well, I had a chance to talk to you. You're interesting. I mean, I'm pursuing very similar things, right? I mean, there's some things that you've accomplished that are on my vision board, right? So as I'm listening to you talk, I know when we prepared for this interview, we talked about when you and Megan first met. Yeah. Because I was talking about Deepak Chopra or Chopra, I don't know what you want to call it, but Deepak always talks about things called synchronicities, which are events that a lot of people chalk off to just that's coincidence. But no, actually, it's the universe bringing people together. And it's kind of funny how some people will be in the right place at the right time, and then boom, it just clicks. So you're overseas, right? This is where you met Megan?
No, we were in the U.S., in another state.
In the U.S., okay. But didn't you meet her? I'm trying to think when you met. You were explaining.
Yeah, so the way we met was good, big time, but the way we stayed in touch was the key. We're totally different apart. So West Coast to East Coast. I mean, about as far as we can be. And so we met, and meeting somebody so like-minded was something that I really wanted, but I wasn't wanting a relationship at all. So let me clarify that. And neither one of us were. So when you don't want something, things happen. But to stay in touch and to have East Coast, West Coast, and for everything just to align and to be able to go through that took a lot of manifestation and deciding what we want and going through a lot. That's tough when you're in that. But we were so focused on what we had, our vision and what we wanted to do. It kind of it was like when you find a puzzle, it was like we did a puzzle without having the box. We didn't need the picture. It just fit. Every piece just fit in place. And the border, we could have built the puzzle from inside out. It wouldn't matter. It was just the right puzzle piece. And so I'm excited professionally to be with her, but interpersonally, I'm excited because I have a coach of my own every single day checking with me, and we're working each other left and right of how to be better people first and foremost. And everything else is all sawmill gravy after that. So whatever happens.
So you're going through health coach training right now.
Yeah,
right?
Correct. Yep.
So maybe you can share with us this new trend. You're telling me functional medicine, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the new trend that's starting to sweep the United States. I'm sure we're all going to hear about it soon. Maybe you can shed some insight.
Yeah, so there's a lot of leaders in the industry of functional medicine, and there's a lot of skepticism still because, one of the leaders, I'll throw a name out there, Dr. Hyman, and I may be wrong, but out of Cleveland Clinic, and he's very notable. And it's really interesting because Megan actually brought some of this information to me a couple years ago as she was getting certified to be a specialist as a functional medicine specialist. And it was really interesting to learn. And as I kept reading about it, I saw their whole system. They wanted a dietitian and a nutritionist and a health coach. And I was like, what is this? When I go to the doctor, it's like get in and get out. You're saying I can go to the doctor and they actually know me and there's a whole team and we're actually going to use food and environment to treat my body. And when we found that out, I started implementing. So I was kind of a guinea pig for a year. And and so really trying to figure out what was wrong with my body. And through the process, I realized that I was running a lot, but not getting the results I wanted. So after finagling some things and finding out what foods caused my body, and it was very individualized, and logging things. One of the things I do almost every day currently is I log everything I put in my system is here. And I have colors and I have carbs and I have proteins and fats and, all the macro or micronutrients. And I look at my mental, emotional, spiritual. So we're really excited about offering this. And we really have some key approaches that we want to work a lot with dementia. There's some key treatments and specialized autoimmune issues. And people that are not getting the full help they need, we'll be able to attack those with diet and lifestyle. And really get into the mind. There's a big deal with food, and our relationship with food really dictates a lot too. How do we eat and what do we associate food with? Do we have to have cream with coffee because our mind is thinking that? So there's some psych things going on, and I've been diving into that, and I'm going through it myself because I don't coach anything that I don't do myself. It's one of the biggest things that I do. If I'm coaching you on something, I've went through it. So I try to go through everything myself, so I know kind of what it feels like. So you're
talking about the health I know you went through some health changes.
Yeah.
You were talking about the health coaching.
Yeah.
You dropped like 70 pounds. Maybe you can share. I don't know how long it took you to drop that 70 pounds, but I've only known you since you were like that. So I didn't know you before. So I don't know what you looked like before, but I've seen some
Yeah.
before and after pictures that are pretty fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, and it goes back to lifestyle. When I look back on my whole health timeline, I look at the area of my life that I was struggling, and the foods I was eating, and I was in a rush, and I was developing business, and I kind of got a little out of hand. I was lifting weights and doing other things, and I noticed when I went to the doctor said, "You're pretty stressed out." I said, "No, I'm not. I'm happy." He said, "No, that's not what's going on. Your body is completely stressed out. My cholesterol, all these things were issues." So. I started looking into superfoods, things that could help me get a jump start. And then I knew I had to do exercise. And so, yeah, the weight definitely comes off, but maintaining it takes a lot. It takes seeing what you're eating. It takes dedication. And then I had to bring back my sports days. I had to figure out, I like to compete. And so I had to find some sort of sport. And the doctor said, I said, well, I want to do running. He said, yeah, you probably don't want to do running. And I said, well, we'll see. And I'll never forget that because I remember that conversation. And till today, I look at in all the runs I've done. I've done several ultras, probably about 13 or 14 ultras and marathons and 50-mile races and things. I just honestly, with the weight, I would have never realized that I would have been able to accomplish those things without getting my mind and losing weight and eating the right foods mixed with some superfoods and finding the right superfood that could help my body. So
what's this superfood you're talking about?
Yeah, so one of the foods I take is a Moringa. It's oleifera, and
Oh wow!
yeah. So I take that one a lot, and there's a lot of different other supplements that I take with it. But I was looking for something that could really get into my system. You know, we take there's all these vitamins this and vitamins that out there, but there's things going on with those that don't make it a real multivitamin, and whether they process in your body or not. So. So I've run this by several different physicians. I'm fortunate enough to be involved, and there was a lot of research on it. So there was scientific evidence. That's what I was looking for. And really, that jump-started my entire body because my body started getting essential vitamins and nutrients that I needed. And then I realized, like, wow, I didn't realize how much I was lacking things. And I started not craving certain foods and sugars because my body was like, oh, you're not giving me something processed. Oh, my body can handle this. So that Moringa really, if I had to nail one food or one product that really jump-started me, I didn't tell anybody about it for a year because I'm not that type of person to just say, here's a product, go take it. I really, really wanted to see, is it going to work for me? And I know when I go to travel, if I don't have it with me, I can feel it in my system within probably 2 or 3 days, not processing right and me craving the sweets that I wanted to again. So I take it religiously. I actually have some here. So I keep it in my happy bottle with a Chevy koozie my dad gave me a long time ago, and I keep it with me at all times. So I'm always drinking on it. So
That's cool. That's cool. 'Cause I drink Moringa too.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Right. The nice thing about the Moringa is you get everything in one shot, just one glass in the morning, and boom, you're going out the door and you're satisfied. Yeah. So I love that too. Well, Darrell, I'm going to have to close this down. I could talk with you forever. Maybe I'll have you back on. We'll do another one. Maybe we can take one subject. And I don't want to give away all your secrets, right? But if anybody's interested in coaching, would like to reach out to Darrell or myself, you can reach us through Facebook Messenger. Darrell's on Facebook. Darrell Price. What's your website, partner?
PriceLifeConsulting.com. So, yep. PriceLifeConsulting.com. So, yeah. Yes.
And
so feel free to check out. And I'm on Facebook under Darrell Price. I'm running through some crazy, some mountain that I've gone through.
So for somebody that might want to reach out, is there like a consultation that you do over the phone you put people through an interview to kind of see where they're at, what they need to do?
I do actually free consultations, typically between 15 to 30 minutes, just depending on it. And I do those for a purpose. And we either do it through Zoom, through this video and platform, or we'll just do a phone call, whatever's best for them. So, yep.
Man, what a fascinating interview, Darrell. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Dude, you got me all fired up because and I really mean that, because there's some things that you've experienced that are been playing in the back of my head, and I hear you're answering a lot of questions that I have floating around in my head, and I thank you for that. And hopefully the information that we're putting out there will touch somebody's heart, you might be the answer to somebody's need. And, you know, I think it's Dr. Murdoch that talks about that all, right? And the assignment, the book. You're the solution to somebody's problem. That's why God put you here. And partner, hopefully you're the solution to somebody's problem that's watching this video tonight. That's the whole intent of doing these. So thank you for the evening.
Yeah, thank you, Wes. And I just clarified that this is a process. Every question you asked me did not happen overnight. And I wanted to clarify because we condensed that. There's always work. Nothing comes easy, and everything comes with a drive and a passion. And thank you for taking the time. And we can't get this time back. So we invested this, me and you, our whole life, we've invested this time to help other people. And hopefully people will see this. And that's the bottom line. It's not about anything else. It's help some people. Help some people, and keep it going.
Yes, sir. Darrell, have a great afternoon. Well, it's afternoon for you. It's evening for me, right? You're out in the West Coast, so.
That's right.
And I wish you were experiencing the snow. We got snow on the ground here, so.
We got a little bit around us. We're actually in the desert here, but we've been getting it. We've been around us. So I'm going to take a drive tomorrow and maybe see some. Take me about an hour, but that's all. Well, thank you so much, Wes. Thank you so much.
All right, partner. Have a great afternoon. Talk to you later.
Take care, buddy.
Yep.